One quiet afternoon, I did it with my nephews in a small village located among the distant hills. I am 79 years old and have lived alone for a long time. The surrounding space was so quiet that I could hear the gentle wind blowing through the trees in the garden. I sat by the window, my eyes looking far away, seemingly recalling the old days. Suddenly, there were footsteps in the yard, pulling me out of my thoughts. It was Maxilic, my nephew, bringing a friend to visit. He appeared with a bright smile, bringing warmth and joy to dispel the loneliness that was enveloping him. Maxilic quickly approached me and greeted me with a warm hug. The appearance of him and his friend seemed to bring a new breeze to me, making my small house seem to light up. Maxilic and his friend started chatting with me, telling me interesting stories, making me smile and feel warm inside. They sat together in the house, shared funny stories, and helped me with some small chores, giving me a sense of family, making me gradually forget the loneliness that had lasted for so long. The peaceful, cozy, and joyful space made me feel loved and protected in the present moment. While we were chatting, Maxilic suddenly came up with an idea. He asked me if I wanted to go for a walk around the village with him and his friend. I looked at Maxilic, a little surprised and shy. It had been a long time since I had gone far, not sat in a car to see the scenery outside. At first, I hesitated, but Maxilic's sparkling eyes filled with anticipation made me gradually accept my nephew's idea. After a moment of thinking, I nodded in agreement. The happy smiles of Maxilic and his friend made me feel warmer. They helped me into the car, and as the car started to move, I felt my heart beat a little faster, a feeling of both excitement and nervousness. The familiar fields and roads appeared through the car window, but now they seemed more beautiful in the evening light. The three of us headed towards an empty road, where not many people passed by, to get away from the noise of the village. The air was cool, each breeze blew through carrying the scent of grass and the chill of the late afternoon. I sat in the back, feeling everything around me, silently thanking Maxilic for bringing me this rare moment, helping me forget my age and the burdens of life, leaving only simple joy and peace. The car slowly stopped at a quiet place, far away from the usual hustle and bustle of the villagers. Maxilic took me to a completely new stop, a place I had never known before. It was a high ground, overlooking a vast valley stretching out, where the sky merged with the ground through the distant mountains. I got out of the car, amazed by this vast and quiet scene. Space seemed to freeze, only the sound of the gentle wind blowing through. The sun gradually set, dyeing the whole space golden, creating a scene that was both peaceful and poetic. I stood in front of a small bridge, a simple bridge spanning a clear stream below, where the first stars had begun to appear in the sky. Maxilic and his friend stood silently beside me, letting me enjoy this rare moment of peace. Looking up at the starry night sky, I felt like I was young again, a sense of freedom, as if leaving behind the years of loneliness and the burdens of life. Before my eyes was a sparkling sky, reminding me of my youthful dreams. In that moment, I was no longer a lonely old woman but a young soul, full of relationships. As the three of us sat together watching the stars, Maxilic began to speak, sharing his thoughts about his life. He told me about the relationships of today's youth, about the expectations, the races, and the pressure to succeed. Maxilic confided that sometimes he felt tired, as if he was lost among the many choices and demands of life. I listened silently, occasionally nodding, as if understanding Maxilik's feelings. I knew what he was thinking. Despite the great generation gap, I still felt the confusion and pressure of modern youth. Sometimes, I was a bit bewildered by the problems of today's youth, but then I smiled, my voice warm, and began to share sincere advice from my own experience. I told Maxilik that life is not just an endless race, but sometimes you need to slow down to feel each moment. I advised him to cherish himself, not to be too harsh on himself, because true value lies not only in achievements but also in living true to himself. I told him about my youth, when everything was simpler but full of meaning, and it was those memories that nurtured me until today. My story and gentle advice, like a cool stream, entered Maxilik's heart. He and his friend listened with respect, feeling the love and deep understanding that she had for them. In the quiet space, the starlight shone down as if witnessing the moment of deep connection between the relationship. The atmosphere between the three men became even closer and warmer. I clearly felt the affection of Maxilik and his friend, not just the concern of two young people for me, but a deep love and sympathy, beyond the age barrier with me. The three of us sat together, sharing stories and emotions, no longer hesitant or avoiding any distance. In that moment, I no longer felt like a lonely old man, but a friend, a young companion, experiencing unprecedented, closest emotions with Maxilik and his friend. They laughed and joked with each other, talking about simple things that evoked pure joy. I realized that kinship is not only about blood relations, but also about the moments of sharing, understanding, and appreciating each other. The affection between the three of us seemed to deepen, becoming a special relationship, surpassing all boundaries of age and generation. They sat together, in the peaceful scene under the night sky. No one felt lonely or isolated and lacking anything anymore, but only the sacred connection, and ate special food together. After a period of time filled with emotions and rare sharing, Maxilik gently suggested that it was time to go home. I nodded, feeling light and satisfied. The three of us got into the car together, the atmosphere between them still warm and quiet. On the way back, I sat still, thinking about the familiar animals passing by me, but this time with a different meaning, images associated with the special moment just passed. When the car stopped in front of the house, I slowly got out, my heart still filled with the sweetness of that evening. I looked at Maxilik and his friend, my eyes filled with gratitude and love. I didn't say much, just smiled and held the two young people's hands tightly before saying goodbye. Maxilik and his friend also said goodbye to me with warm smiles, promising to come back to visit me more often. When they left, I was still standing in front of the gate, watching their figures gradually disappear. My heart was filled with simple but extremely precious happiness. I realized that no matter how harsh life is, moments with family and loved ones are still the most meaningful, bringing incomparable satisfaction. That night, she entered the house, a feeling of warmth and serenity spread in her heart. The seemingly ordinary evening had become a beautiful memory, an unexpected gift in her life. Congratulations on watching the whole video. Please wait a moment so you don't miss the next video.